The neural interface hummed against Anna's temple, its quantum processors translating ancient Kabbalistic texts at 12,000 permutations per second. She stood in the observation deck of the Sephirot, humanity's first-generation ship, watching the red dwarf star system they'd orbited for 3 months slowly rotate beyond the reinforced viewport. "You're still chasing ghosts in dead languages," Kivin said, entering without announcement. His muscular frame filled the doorway, a body maintained through rigorous calisthenics in the ship's artificial gravity chambers. Unlike Anna's cerebral augmentations, Kivin had rejected neural enhancements entirely, believing the body's natural capabilities surpassed any silicon substitute. "These aren't ghosts," Anna replied, not turning from the window. "The Zohar's passages on Guf and Neshama, body and soul, they're describing something the ancient mystics understood intuitively, something we're only now proving with quantum consciousness research." Kivin crossed his arms, the ship's blue ambient lighting casting shadows across his skeptical expression. 1,600 colonists are in cryostasis, waiting for us to find a habitable world, and you're reading mystical poetry written 3,000 years ago. 1,300 years, Anna corrected. She finally turned, and Kivin noticed the dark circles under her eyes, the slight tremor in her hands. She'd been interfacing too long again, burning through neurochemical reserves to maintain the connection. And it's not poetry. It's a technical manual we lack the framework to understand. The ship's AI interrupted with a soft chime. "Dr. Chen, your cortisol and adrenaline levels are critically elevated. Recommend immediate cessation of neural interface activity." Anna dismissed the warning with an irritated wave, and Kivin saw it then. The anger she'd been suppressing for weeks, coiled tight in her shoulders, crackling in her eyes like static discharge. "When did you last sleep?" he asked quietly. "Sleep is a function of the body," she said, her voice sharp. "Consciousness, true consciousness, transcends physical limitations. The Kabbalists knew this. They wrote about the Jevura, divine strength, but not strength of muscle, strength of will, of mind controlling matter." Kivin moved closer, his footsteps deliberate, grounding. "Anna, listen to yourself. You sound like you're dissociating." "I'm integrating," the words burst from her, echoing in the empty observation deck. "For the first time in human history, we can actually test these ancient hypotheses. The Kabbalistic tree describes 10 emanations, Sephirot, and I've mapped them to quantum consciousness states. The body isn't just a vessel for the soul, it's the template. The soul is the emergent property, not the primary reality." She pulled up a holographic display with trembling fingers. Complex diagrams materialized in the air between them, neural network models superimposed over ancient Kabbalistic trees, quantum field equations intertwined with Hebrew letters. "Look," she said urgently. The mystics placed yesod, foundation, near the base of the tree, associated with the physical body's generative power. Modern neuroscience shows that consciousness emerges from the body's electromagnetic fields, from the quantum coherence in microtubules. The body generates the soul, not the reverse. They knew, Kivin. They knew, and we ignored it for millennia, chasing transcendence when divinity was always imminent. Kivin studied the displays, then looked at Anna, really looked at her. The interface ports at her temples were inflamed, her breathing shallow, her entire physiology screaming distress while her augmented mind raced ahead, disconnected from the vessel that sustained it. "You're proving yourself wrong," he said softly. Anna blinked. "What?" "Your body is failing, Anna. You're burning it out to fuel your mind's obsession. If the body is truly primary, if it's the temple that generates consciousness, then you're destroying the very foundation you claim to revere." She opened her mouth to argue, but a wave of dizziness struck her. Kivin caught her before she fell, his strong arms, unaugmented, purely biological, supporting her weight with ease. "The ancient mystics," Kivin continued, guiding her to a seat, "they didn't just study. They practiced. Fasting, yes, but also feasting. meditation, but also physical devotion. They understood something you've forgotten in your rush to download enlightenment. Anna's neural interface automatically disengaged as her consciousness wavered, and the sudden silence in her mind was deafening. Without the constant data stream, she felt her body's complaints flooding in: hunger, exhaustion, the deep ache of neglected physical needs. "I was so close," she whispered. "I could feel the pattern emerging, the secrets they encoded about consciousness, about how physical reality generates spiritual experience." "And you'll never find it this way," Kivin said, pulling a protein bar from his pocket and pressing it into her hands. "You can't transcend the body to understand the body's primacy. That's a logical paradox." Anna bit into the bar mechanically, and the rush of glucose to her system was immediate, profound. Her thoughts began to slow, to clarify. The anger that had driven her for weeks started to dissolve, revealed as nothing more than stress hormones cascading through neglected neurons. "The Kabbalists wrote about Kaz, anger, as a destructive force," Kivin continued. "Not because anger is spiritually impure, but because it dysregulates the body's chemistry. It floods you with cortisol, impairs judgment, destroys the very biological processes that generate clear consciousness. They understood psychoneuroimmunology before we had words for it." Anna closed her eyes, feeling her heartbeat gradually slow to normal rhythms. "So the secret isn't in the texts." "The secret is that there is no secret," Kivin replied. "Or rather, the secret was always obvious. The body is the temple. Consciousness emerges from its complex systems. Treat the temple well and divinity emerges naturally. Abuse it and you get what you've become these past weeks: brilliant but brittle, connected to everything except yourself." The ship's AI chimed again. Dr. Chen's vital signs stabilizing, neural inflammation decreasing. Anna opened her eyes and looked at Kivin with a clarity she hadn't felt in months. "You never augmented. You always said it was a philosophical choice, but I thought you were being a Luddite." He smiled. "I grew up reading those same Kabbalistic texts. My grandmother was a scholar. She taught me that Jevura, strength, wasn't about domination or transcendence. It's about boundaries, discipline, knowing when to stop." "The body as limit and liberation simultaneously," Anna murmured, finally understanding. "Exactly. The mystics didn't want to escape the body. They wanted to perfect it, to align it so completely with reality that consciousness could emerge in its fullest form. Not downloaded, not augmented, cultivated." Anna stood slowly, testing her balance. The observation deck's viewport showed the red dwarf burning steadily in the cosmic dark, patient and eternal. "I need to sleep," she said. "Actually sleep, for perhaps 20 hours. "I'll make sure you do," Kivin replied. "And then when you wake, maybe we can approach this research differently, together, mind and muscle." "Body and soul," Anna corrected, smiling weakly. "Body generating soul," Kivin amended. "The temple and its emergent divinity, both necessary, neither transcendent." As they left the observation deck, Anna glanced back at her holographic displays, still floating in the empty air. The ancient Kabbalistic trees and quantum consciousness maps overlapped perfectly, revealing a truth so simple it had taken humanity millennia to rediscover. Consciousness was not trapped in the body, waiting for liberation. It was the body's greatest gift to itself: awareness emerging from complexity, divinity arising from discipline, soul flowering from carefully tended flesh. The Sephirot sailed on through the darkness, carrying its cargo of sleeping colonists toward uncertain worlds, while in its metal corridors 2 researchers walked together, one learning to honor the body, the other teaching through example that strength had always been about integration, never transcendence.